Have you ever heard a story that just completely flips everything you thought you knew on its head? I mean, what if our entire history, from the dawn of time to right now, was basically a lie? Today, we're going to unpack a single, really detailed source that lays out a wild alternate history for all of us. We're talking alien gods, cosmic crimes, and a pretty startling claim about someone living on Earth today. Let's get into it.
So, the text we're digging into today kicks things off with this incredibly bold statement. An amazing revelation has been discovered. Right from the jump, it promises to reframe everything we think we know. It's one heck of a hook, right? So, what is this huge revelation?
Okay, so this is really the heart of it all. The whole story boils down to this one wild question. And believe me, as crazy as it sounds, this source lays out a very, very specific chain of events that connects some ancient cosmic drama straight to our lives, right now. So, let's walk through that story.
All right, to really get what's going on, we have to rewind way, way back. Because according to this story, our tale doesn't even start here on Earth. Nope. It all begins with a huge crisis on some faraway planet. A crisis that would, well, change everything forever.
Okay, first up, you gotta meet the key players in this whole cosmic soap opera. We're talking about the Anunnaki royal family. You've got Lord Anu, he's the big boss, the king. Then there are his two sons, Lord Enlil, the older one, the heir to the throne. And then there's Enki, the younger son. He's the brilliant scientist, but he's also super ambitious. And you know, it's that ambition, his desire for his own kingdom, that really gets the ball rolling.
So why Earth? What brings these guys all the way here? Well, the story says it was a total disaster back home. Their planet, Nibiru, was literally losing its air. Their only shot at survival? Coming to Earth to mine gold, which they needed to create some kind of protective atmospheric shield. This wasn't a joyride, it was an act of pure desperation.
And this is where Enki, our ambitious scientist, sees his chance. This crisis, it's his golden ticket. He comes up with this incredibly sneaky four-part plan. Let's break it down. First, he stirs up trouble with the miners, gets them to revolt. Then, in the middle of all that chaos, he goes, hey, I have an idea. Let's just create a, temporary worker species. But here's the kicker. He secretly engineers them to be able to reproduce. And if that wasn't enough, he throws his own Anunnaki DNA into the mix. Why? His endgame wasn't a temporary solution. He wanted to create a permanent slave race for the kingdom he dreamed of.
Now you can probably guess that a secret that big isn't gonna stay buried forever, right? And when the Anunnaki leadership finally finds out what Enki's been up to, well, let's just say the consequences are massive.
The council's judgment was brutal, just absolutely ruthless. They looked at what Enki had created, that's us, by the way, humanity, and they didn't see a new civilization. They saw an abomination, something corrupt, dangerous, and they were afraid that this new species could become, and this is a direct quote, a cancerous infestation to the universe. Wow. So what do? Well, the council comes up with this kind of hands-off solution. See, their own morals apparently stopped them from just wiping us out directly, but they knew that their planet, Nibiru, was going to swing by Earth again, and that its gravity would cause a monster flood. So their plan was simple. Just let nature do the dirty work for them. But Enki, he's not about to let his creation, his future kingdom, get washed away. So he goes against the council, saves a few of his new humans, and bam, the next chapter of the conflict begins. Okay. So the flood happens, but thanks to Enki, some humans make it through, and the council is not happy about it. Since their plan A failed, they decide to hold a formal debate to figure out what to do with us once and for all. This was it. The entire human race was literally put on trial for its existence.
And this really breaks down the two sides of the argument. It's like a cosmic courtroom drama. In one corner, you have a figure named Satan, who's basically the prosecutor. His argument: humanity is broken, violent, and just an abomination that needs to be wiped out. But in the other corner, you have Lord Enlil. That's Enki's brother, remember him? He's acting as our defense. He argues that, hey, these humans have our DNA in them. They have a divine spark. We can teach them, help them evolve, and maybe one day they can be our equals.
So they're deadlocked. They can't agree. What happens? They come up with a compromise. A deal is struck. They basically give Satan, our main accuser, a certain amount of time to put humanity to the test, to weed out, as they say, anyone who isn't capable of evolving. The plan was, after this trial was over, the Anunnaki would come back and take over, guiding whoever was left. But according to this story, Satan didn't play fair.
he completely twisted the whole deal. Instead of giving us a real test, he created this awful, cruel system of reincarnation. He supposedly trapped human souls in this endless loop of being born, dying, and being born again. But here's the catch. He made it so we'd forget everything from our past lives. It was designed to make sure we could never really learn, never truly evolve.
So while all of humanity is stuck in this cosmic hamster wheel, the story shifts its focus back to the guy who kicked this whole thing off in the first place. What about Enki? What was his punishment for this universe-altering transgression? His sentence was, well, pretty poetic, actually. He was forced to come down to Earth and do the exact same thing as us. He had to reincarnate over and over, living and suffering right alongside the humans he created. The story says one of his most important lives was as Moses, where he gave his people their foundational laws. And this went on for centuries upon centuries, all building up to one final lifetime, a lifetime happening right now.
And the reason for this punishment is so important. It wasn't just about payback. The whole point was to force him to develop empathy, to make him feel our pain, our struggles, our joy, everything. The idea was that by living it himself, he could finally understand the true weight of what he did, creating a sentient species on a whim.
And this, right here, is where everything comes together. The crisis on Nibiru, humanity's creation, that great cosmic debate, Enki's centuries of punishment. It's all been leading to this, one final, massive revelation that connects all those dots to our world, right now.
The source is very clear on this. This hidden truth could only come out now, in what it calls the very end of days. For thousands of years, this has all been a secret. But now, the final piece of the puzzle is about to click into place.
So what is it? What's the big reveal? According to the source, and it says this without any ambiguity, the Anunnaki god Enki, who is also the prophet Moses, is alive today, incarnated as a man named Cardinal Richard Ruff.
And you're probably asking, okay, what's the proof? Well, the text points to something called Torah codes. You know, this is that method where people look for hidden messages in the Hebrew Bible by finding sequences of letters. The source claims that these codes have confirmed this fantastic discovery. That's presented as the final piece of evidence that makes the whole story lock together. So, with Enki's long punishment finally over, he's brought back into the fold. He's restored to a place of honor. And according to this narrative, this actually shakes up the whole royal line of succession. So now it goes. Lord Anu is still number one. Lord Enlil, who the text also calls Lord Ra-El, is second. And now, third in line, is the redeemed Lord Enki, living as Cardinal Richard Ruff. So, there it is. The whole story, from start to finish. A complete narrative that goes from a crisis on another planet all the way to a specific person supposedly living among us today. It really is a complete cosmology. And it kind of leaves you with a big question, doesn't it? What does a story like this, so detailed, so all-encompassing, really tell us about the human need to find answers for the biggest questions of all?